Hey y'all, welcome to my garden. It's May 2021 and I'd like to show you around. So here we go. There is the cat giving himself a bath, being a little inappropriate. Yep, I'm talking about you. Meet Dash. Alright, we put up a cattle panel trellis. And on this side, we've got honey nut squash planted. And on the other side, we've got Kajari melons. Right now, there's only one seedling, but we've got some more planted. The spinach is bolted. We've got some cosmos, rudbeckia, a slug trap, some radishes. Check out this delphinium. It's a Magic Fountains blend. And are you wanting to be the star? We've got some dill, a dahlia that did go through a freeze and put back up, some parsley, got arugula, and a couple of okra seedlings that I will thin when they get a little bit bigger. Got some Dinosaur Kale. And this empty spot is, I believe, dragon tongue bush beans. We should start seeing those in the next few days. Red Russian or Ragged Jack kale. Most of this stuff I started from seed. Some of it, like the rudbeckia, is a reseeded volunteer. There is a Priscilla gladiola that I have put in here. There is a sun sugar tomato. It's starting to put on some flowers, so that's pretty exciting. Some lettuce from last year. That empty spot is, I believe, bush blue lake bean. Should be seeing that in a few days. Some bolted dinosaur kale. I hope y'all can hear all the birds. They are really happy today. A couple of sugar snap peas going up a tomato cage. And he thinks I'm talking to him. Let's see, I believe this is a Paul Robeson. Yes. And it's starting to put on a few buds. And this one is a Dr. Witchy's tomato. It's probably pronounced different, but that's what I heard Jess from Roots and Refuge pronounce it as, and I loved it. Sounds like witch, so that's what I'm going with, Dr. Witchy's. A little bit of lime basil that's not doing so hot, and it's bolting. It smells amazing though. We've got some gold beets and some bull's blood has not come up yet. A couple of black beauty zucchini seedlings. Oop. A few poor little pots of things. I'm gonna take the chives over to my sister's and plant them in the ground. Maybe they'll perk up. And these are creeping phlox from my great-grandmother's yard. I have tried rescuing them. We live on a dirt road. The road grader has graded and mostly gotten rid of the original stand. But I've managed to save a clump, and I actually have 3 pots of it right now. It did take a little cold damage from this February, but I think it'll pop. I think it'll pull through. Got some more stuff I need to get planted. A couple of delphiniums, some marigold, cactus zinnia, a couple of cosmos, and a few more delphinium, or not delphiniums, I'm sorry, dahlias. Another few sugar snap peas, but this is where I'm going to be planting my green beans, so I will have to take these out pretty soon. The other part of this bed is corn. We've tried corn before. It's not worked out real great. So hopefully third time's the charm. Kitty break. Hey, kitty. What you think? The parsley that's going to seed, it's probably going to have to come out. This is my flower bed. That is some sorrel de Belleville that has bolted. That is very pretty, so I'm going to leave it. This bed, the majority of it is purple coneflower, echinacea, and it is taking over. I have been digging out and moving clumps to make room for the rest of my flowers, but it seems like every time I dig out a clump, the rest of them fill it in. So I'm really going to have to get after that because I have a ton more flowers to put in here. There's a rudbeckia I transplanted, a couple of zinnias. There is some melon seeds we put in over here. There's one that showed up right there. And let's see, I just transplanted this the other day. It's an apple blossom Snapdragon. Never grown these before, so we'll see what they do. Some basil, a dahlia that I started from seed, another dahlia. I popped another Priscilla gladiola here. They are so beautiful. I saw one a couple years ago. In my great-grandmother's yard. Been going through there many years, never saw it. A couple of years ago, it popped up in the middle of summer, was gorgeous. White, ringed with pink, with a yellow throat. It looked so tropical, so fun. And it was such an unexpected, pleasant surprise that I just had to try and find some. And this year I finally did. Found it from White Flower Farm. They shipped it incredibly quickly. I have planted 6 of them so far. I had ordered 12. And I still have to find a spot for the other 6. The first 6 I planted, I think, on April 23rd. And I've still got to find a spot for the rest of them. And I need to plant them pretty soon, or else I think I'm going to run out of their bloom time. I'm not for sure. Some of my spare plants, they're not looking too good. They've been in too small pots for too long. Some extra peppers, borage, tomatoes, Genovese basil, lemon and lime basil, holy basil. Some of this will go to my mom's. I may take some of this to my sister. Haven't decided yet. Or I may just pop it in various places and see what it does. This is my little bit bigger bed. Over here is a nylon trellis for Burpless cucumbers. I did Sweet Success and then a couple plants of Sweeter Yet on each end. And then on this side, another nylon trellis for cucumbers. This is my Pickling Cucumbers. I did Calypso and Arkansas Little Leaf. This is my first year for both of those varieties. I'm hoping with our hot, humid summers, the one developed in Arkansas will do good for me. We've had some slug problems and cutworm problems, so I have put these plastic covers from cherry tomatoes that you get from the store around these plants. And so far, they're still in there. So I hope that's a success. I planted radishes along the middle. That's a volunteer tomato. Let's get that out of there. And the radishes are supposed to act kind of as a repellent for cucumber beetles. I don't know if that's true or not, but I figured it can't hurt. We really have a problem with cucumber beetles throughout the year. And I'm not sure if you can see, the piece of bull panel, we call it. I think some people call it livestock panels, some people call it cattle panel. Found that on the back side of our property. We've been trying to clean up our property for a few years now. We've been in this property several years. There's a lot of junk around, but we did find that, and that one was a treasure. I am making a trellis wall for my tomatoes, once again inspired by Jess from Roots and Refuge. And I'm hoping to experiment with single stemming these 4 tomato plants and training them to the trellis. See how that works this year. See if we can cut down on some of the diseases and increase some productivity in a smaller space. That one, I believe, is Kellogg's Breakfast. Got a borage plant in front of it. That one, I believe, is maybe Paul Robeson, I think. I've got tags on the other side. I'm just too lazy to walk around. The other one is another Dr. Witchy's. And the last one is a Cherokee Purple. Most of the rest of the greenery in here is left over from the winter. I did plant the holy basil that's hidden down in there, and some pretty sorry looking lemon basil, but it does smell amazing. I haven't decided on the holy basil smell yet. I have heard it described as pineapple or perhaps bubblegum, and yes to both. It's kind of odd, so I think I like it, not real sure. Some little Swiss chard seedlings that are kind of pitiful. They're not doing too good at the soil level. Some more slug traps. A little marigold with a little bud coming up on it. Got another one back there too. I've sowed carrots in this spot. They have not made an appearance yet, but that's pretty normal. The chives here are doing excellent. Got a bumblebee, taking advantage of that. Got some Genovese basil, some oregano, lemon thyme, which smells divine. Love it. A couple plants of English thyme. I've had to finally try and contain my mint. I've had this mint plant for probably 7 years, and it's always stayed in one little tiny spot. I installed drip irrigation last year, and it took over horribly. Everybody warned me, didn't believe them, because for 5 years it just sat there. As soon as it got enough water, world domination, or at least garden. So, yeah, I should really believe people when they tell me something, but based on experience, I thought it'd be different. Not so. So, anyway, just a word, mint really is invasive, but so they say is lemon balm, but I don't mind because it smells absolutely amazing. I have not used it for anything, but aromatherapy alone is worth it. There's a little rosemary plant back there that I took from my mom's garden. She gave me a cutting. It took a little bit of cold damage this February, but I think it'll pull through. Oh, and funny story about the mint. I was going through and pulling it all up, getting rid of as much of it as I could, containing it to a pot. And I thought I had found a nice little mint start and potted it up and then went to ripping out everything else. I was about to go in and realized that I'd potted up a lemon balm start. So then I had to go out in the yard and salvage some of the runners that I viciously yanked out and start popping them in the pot, a new pot now because I took up the one that was meant for mint. And, well, yeah, sometimes it goes that way. But it worked out, and now I have a secondary pot of lemon balm that I can maybe give to my sister. And a pot of mint, and I keep finding mint starts coming up in the garden. So I think I will be dealing with that for a very long time. I moved some garlic sprouts over there. I had a massive clump of garlic for the last several years that I just never got around to digging up. So I dug it out, divided it throughout most of them because they were so tiny and stunted. This is a homemade self-watering container. Got the idea from the Container Gardener's Bible, and it's been working pretty well. I need to disassemble it, refresh the dirt, reposition the spacers, because this is where some of my peppers will be going. I have 2 of them, and I'm needing to make at least 2 more for some spare tomato plants. Let's see, you might notice the tin and cinder block raised beds and some rubber mats for traction and my umbrella stand. It is so hot and humid here. A little bit of shade does help, so every once in a while I will get out a patio umbrella to cast some shade, make it a little better to work out here. But our Bermuda grass is so horribly invasive that the only thing I could think to do was to build up. Oh, those delphiniums. Love them. And somebody taking a nap.